Welcome to OFFS, the show where we have a girlfriend chat about culture, fashion, food, health, relationships, and so much more. We've been friends for 25 years and it shows. Together we love to laugh, share stories, and talk all things popular culture. We are healthcare practitioners and we understand that community is what heals us, and we welcome you to ours. I'm Fiona.
And I'm Vanda.
And this is the OFFS podcast. Okay, episode 2 of the Oh, for fuck's sakes podcast. I'm Fiona.
And I'm Vanda.
How and are welcome to the show. Oh, I'm great. How are you doing?
I am much warmer than you are.
Oh, dude, it's been brutal here. It's been just brutal. Like, I said to my chiropractor yesterday, we're both from Saskatchewan, and I said, how did we survive this when we were kids? And he's like, I think it's just that we didn't know any better. We thought everybody had weather like this in December, January, February, March, April, right? And so how about you? What's the weather like in Dubai?
Do you really want to know?
Yes, I do.
It's actually been gorgeous. I went to the beach on Saturday, and I just spent all day at the beach. It was one of my friend's birthdays, and it was just hung out all day.
Lovely.
It's like 27, 28 degrees. Yeah.
So nice.
Celsius.
We're talking Celsius people.
Celsius.
Yep.
So like 28 is 82. So there you go. Yeah.
Okay. That sounds lovely.
Yeah. It's been beautiful.
Do you miss winter?
No.
Huh. Not the snow?
No. No. I'm the worst Canadian ever. I miss it on Christmas Day, Christmas Eve. Mm-hmm. That's about it. Like, just looking out and seeing it beautiful and just beautiful white snow and crisp and that sound when you walk through it for 24 hours.
You get through it pretty fast.
But I live in Dubai. I just walk by Ski Dubai, see it through the glass, and I'm good to go.
Tell us, what's that?
Ski Dubai?
Yes.
It's the indoor ski slope.
Seriously?
Yeah, so you can go skiing. They have a couple of different runs. They have penguins. A couple of months ago, we actually went to the indoor movie theater, so then you get like bundled up. They actually give you jackets and boots and stuff, gloves, hats. And then you go and you sit. They have like an elevated platform with like really comfy couches. And then you sit there with your blanket, and there's heaters right down by your feet, which you can control, and you watch a movie. We watched Home Alone.
Oh my goodness.
And they bring you hot chocolate and popcorn. It's amazing.
People pay for that experience?
Yeah, to sit in the snow to watch a movie.
It sounds great. It sounds very romantic, which is cool, but
it's quite romantic.
I think the truth is, for those people listening that live in the snow and the cold for 5 to 6 months out of the year, like those of us here in Canada, we're going, that's nuts. Like, where is it in Canada where you can go into a movie theater and it's like a tropical beach? Like, where is that? Like, I want to put my toes in the sand. I want a frosty beverage. I want like an umbrella above me and like the sun on my face. Where is that? And maybe that's a business idea.
True, 100%. And I also think that it used to be in West Edmonton Mall.
Are you serious?
Yeah, I remember the water park, the indoor water park.
Of course.
I don't think they had sand, but I remember one time, this is very country, but one time growing up, a New Year's Eve party, one of the kids that I went to high school with, they had an old like barn Quonset, and they literally brought sand in and turned on all the heaters.
That's a great idea.
It was like minus 30 outside, but he had a beach party in the middle of southern Alberta.
I love that idea.
Yeah, so it was great.
That's awesome. My grad party was at the art museum in Davenport. Do you remember the art museum, or was it built after you left?
It opened just after I left. I've seen it since, but yeah.
Yeah, it was a pretty.
I was awesome, at Mount Street Landing.
Oh, I remember. That was so fun. I can even tell you what I was wearing that night. I'm not sure many other people at the party could say what they were wearing, but I was driving that night, so I remember.
Good time.
It was a good time. I remember your dad that night. He was so proud of you. I just remember the glint in his eye.
Aww.
Anyways, so what'd you get up to this weekend?
This weekend, what did we oh, yes. Well, went to the beach for the most of the day, and of course, being in Dubai, like, you have to come visit me, Fiona. Um,
I will. I will. I will.
we just had a very Dubai moment. So it's we always joke. Other cities, have like maybe religious festivals or there's festivals to celebrate independence or something like that. Dubai, we have shopping festivals. So we have a festival like literally to celebrate shopping. So every single night they had fireworks down on the beach. And then they also had I think it's Al Fursan is what it's like the snowbirds, in Canada, the
Mhm.
aerial, what am I saying here? The planes
Canada
that
geese?
fly with the
Oh,
smoke.
oh. Oh, okay.
Snowbirds. No, no,
Yes.
no. The
Oh,
planes that
yes,
fly in
yes.
formation. Yeah.
Understood. Yes.
And yeah, so they have their own team here, which is actually I think they're mostly trained by the Canadian snowbirds. And so they were doing like aerials over the beach. So we were
Amazing.
watching those as well, which is pretty fun. They make big hearts in the sky and they make a big palm tree and
That's
all that kind of
awesome.
stuff.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It's
A
pretty
few
cool.
years ago now, Aaron and I traveled to Vancouver Island where the snowbirds train in, I think they're there from like April to the most of the month of April to the beginning of May, and they train twice a day. And so if you're there, you can go onto the beach and watch them
Oh,
do that.
amazing.
It's awesome. It's so
Yeah.
fun. And they actually have someone there on the like on the forces base there because it's Comox I'm talking about now. They actually have somebody there like commentating on what's happening and which pilot is in which. It's a really kind
Ooh.
of cool, and it's only training. So like when you see them do a real event, it's even more cool. But it's a pretty special thing. But that's awesome. What are they called in Dubai?
I think it's called Al Fursan. That's the name.
Okay.
I don't know what it means in Arabic, but yeah, they're pretty cool.
Okay. So
And
I
then
was
what else?
hearing. Go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say, and then I went to Nobu.
Oh, tell me more. I
So
haven't
they
had that
just
experience. Tell me more.
they just moved Nobu, Nobu Dubai. So there's two of them here. We have Nobu, like Nobu, and then we have Nobu on the beach, which is at the new Atlantis Royal Hotel. But Nobu, they just moved up. It used to be on the ground floor, but they moved it up to the 22nd floor, so it's over the bridge. So when you look at the Atlantis Hotel, which is identical here to the one that it is, I think it's in the Bahamas,
Hmm.
um, and you see the middle, the bridge above the
Hmm.
cutout in the middle, that's where
Hmm.
Nobu is now. So it has the most beautiful view of the city. So my friend took me out for birthday dinner. So we
Very
went to
nice.
just, yeah,
Very,
just
very
enjoyed the
nice.
view from
I
just
guess.
overlooking. You can see all of Dubai. Yeah, it's
What did
pretty
you
cool.
have?
I had the black miso cod and a lot of
Tell
other things,
tell me
but
more.
black miso cod, um, it holds such a special place in my heart. I don't know how they do it. I'm not a chef, but it's just like a piece of cod, which doesn't sound exciting at all. But they put this amazing black miso glaze on it, which is incredible. And then they grill it on like a leaf and they serve it to you. And it's like eating butter, but it's
Mm.
fish. I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
sounds fantastic. So
Yeah.
is the miso itself black or is there like squid ink in the
I
sauce? Like,
It's not, but it's not black at all. So it's like orange-ish
oh, I
when it
see.
comes
I
to you.
see. I see.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't, maybe there's such thing as black miso. Dubai has this thing for black miso cod. So Zuma is a big, really popular restaurant here that serves it. Then there's Sushi Samba that serves it, but Nobu is like the master and he started it. So also,
He's
when
yeah.
Fiona comes to Dubai, we're going
I
for
know,
black
right?
miso cod.
Like, I think we need to start making like a checklist of all the things. I think we can ask everybody's favorite snoring husband, Waleed, to make us a list where we have to. How is he doing? Is he
He's
handling?
awake.
How has he handled the snoring incident? Did you show it to him?
I did. It was hilarious. He laughed. He laughed, but he
Good,
is definitely awake right now, but he's on his
good,
phone. I can see. Oh, he's
good,
got his
good.
AirPods in, so he couldn't
Yeah.
fall asleep any moment. I'll keep you posted.
Please do. Please do. If we hear him snore. The thing is these microphones that we're using have such good noise cancellation that we couldn't hear a
It's
darn
true.
thing. It was all imaginary. Well, anyway, still my favorite moment from last week's episode for sure. Yeah, so we have to get everybody's favorite husband will lead to make a list of the things that Fiona and Aaron need to see when we're in Dubai for
Yeah,
sure. So that's good. I have never been to
100%.
Nobu. I have to say, I am one of those weird people that does not get excited about sushi, and it is the nori for me. It's not the rice or the raw
Mm,
fish, it's the nori. And I know people say, "Okay, well, then you can have this and this and this instead." I'm like, "Okay, well, that sounds
yeah.
fine." But, I
Don't you
think
worry. We will not seaweed it up with you. That's what we're
okay,
not.
okay,
No
that sounds
seaweed for
good.
you.
And I
It's
think what I said
possible.
to you last week when you mentioned you'd gone to Nobu, I said, "Yeah, I just did a parasite cleanse over the holidays, so there should be room in my gut for something new." I mean, it's biodiversity inside. It's gotta be good for something, right?
Two very different experiences.
Fine, fine. Trying to change my mind. I get it. I can feel it.
Nobu and a parasite cleanse, very different experiences.
Yeah, it's all good.
Both
Anyways,
beneficial, you know.
it's true. It was so cold here this weekend, and thankfully it was wild card game weekend for the NFL. So I'm a huge football fan. That is football, American style football. And so there wasn't really a lot to do. You didn't really want to go outside, to be honest. I went out to work on Saturday morning and came home and parked my butt on the couch and watched lots of football. So it's
For the
interesting.
people out there, sorry, how
Go ahead.
cold was it?
Oh, I think Saturday nights in some places in Alberta, it was the coldest it had been in 50 years. So it was here, I think in the city, we were -39 ambient and we had a -49 wind chill. Now, here's something interesting, Vanna. You probably not experienced this, but we actually had an electrical grid alert come up on Saturday night. Did you hear about this?
I heard about it. I saw everybody was posting their like
Yeah.
screenshots of it.
Yeah, so apparently what had happened was it was so cold that everybody had their furnace running. Perhaps you can explain that homes have furnaces in Canada.
I do not. We just have air conditioners.
There you go. But we have central heating, which we call a furnace, so we had turned on. But right about 6:30, I think 6:44 was actually when the alert came out. We had such cold, so many homes running furnaces for so long, and then there was a low wind event, they called it, meaning that the wind turbines couldn't generate more power for us.
Oh wow.
And we normally borrow or share grid with BC and Saskatchewan and Montana, but they were all having cold too, so they didn't really have much to share. So it was interesting because the phones were sitting watching the Chiefs Dolphins game on Saturday night, and the phones make this awful sound, and you go, "Oh, what's coming now?"
Yeah.
And they asked, like alert said, turn off as much as you can immediately. Lights, stoves, don't run the dishwasher, don't run the washer or the dryer. Like just turn it off so we can avoid rolling brownouts.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy, right?
The only time I've ever heard that alarm was over here when we had COVID, and they used to blast it at 9 p.m. for the curfew. But the
Jeez.
first time you heard it, it just scared the absolute shit out of you. It was just like,
Absolutely.
it's just like, what is that?
It's
Yeah,
awful. It's awful. It's terrifying. It gets your attention and I get it. I totally get
yeah,
it. Like it
yeah.
absolutely does get your attention. Anyways, the report said that people did pay attention because the usage dropped like 100 megawatts within a few minutes. And we were able to borrow some from Saskatchewan, sent us some, I guess. So, I think the big question that's happening is around the electric vehicles and how they do not. So, if you go and plug your car into the electric vehicle station, uh, in this kind of weather, you can't sit there with the car not running. You have to run the car, but then it causes the battery to drain far, like you can't charge as quickly. And so it just doubles the travel time and all of that. And so then the conversation becomes, well, electric vehicles are a great idea, but perhaps they're not ready for extreme climates like we have here in Canada.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would drive an electric vehicle in Dubai, no problem, because I don't go more than 100 kilometers a day, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but then we have the opposite problem where we have extreme heat, like 50 degrees in the summer. So it goes the other way too. So
Yeah,
yeah,
apparently, because you couldn't sit at the charging station if it was 50 degrees Celsius without having
no,
the air conditioning running, and it's the same
no.
problem. So, Aaron and I were having this conversation yesterday, and he said if I had to buy a car now, because one of the things the Canadian government said is that I think it's after is it 2030 or 2035 gasoline vehicles are not to be sold anymore?
Yeah, I think it's 2035, I heard,
Well,
for
listen, guys,
Canada.
there's a lot of technology that needs to get sorted before that, before we can make that happen. So I think people want it, but you gotta figure it out. So there's definitely some issues there, it's quite curious. I love the idea of an electric vehicle. I absolutely love it. But again, I think there's still some bugs. But anyways, Aaron said he thinks right now with the technology as it is right now, a hybrid makes better sense because then he actually said a plug-in hybrid makes the best sense because then you can plug it in if you need to, but you can also use petrol if you need to as well. So anyways,
Yeah,
so we were watching the game when this was going on, and the news, I guess, from that game was that it was Miami, Florida's team, Miami Dolphins playing the Kansas City Chiefs from Kansas City, Missouri. And it
yeah,
was I heard it was the equivalent of minus 33 Celsius at that game. Now,
yeah.
that is really cold for those guys to be playing with. A lot of them are not even like have bare skin, right? But then you get the
Well,
Miami team that's used to South Beach. Yeah. Coming up and playing in those conditions. So, yes, the Chiefs won. It was devastating for Dolphins because I think they're doing really well. But of course, the thing that everybody wants to know is Taylor Swift there, and she was. And how much did they actually show video of her? And they showed lots, and it was fine. And she's sitting right next to Donna Kelsey, who is Travis's mom, Travis and Jason's mom. And Travis's brother plays for the Eagles, and he may very well have played his last game last night. There's some talk of that this
yeah.
morning, but anyways, it's sort of like now we're having the conversation about Taylor Swift and there's got to be like Benifer. Isn't there like a Taylor Swift, Travis Kelsey like mixed name? Have you heard?
I thought it was like Tacey or something
Mm,
like that.
Okay, I
Yeah,
can take that.
Tacey, some
I
yeah.
mean, it's not making me leap out of my drawers or anything, but it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I'll
I
take
guess
it.
they do like Tavis.
Uh,
I don't know. We'll work on it. I'm sure
how about
somebody's figured it out.
how about Mr. Taylor Swift?
I like that.
And let me be clear, I literally probably knew one Taylor Swift song before she started dating Travis Kelsey. I'm a Chiefs fan for a lot of years. So I certainly know who he is, but it was really interesting to watch their relationship develop and Taylor Swift starting to show up at the games and then watching the Swifties ask about football and then watching the football people like me going, well, maybe I should see if Taylor Swift songs are kind of my jam, right? I mean, I think the only Shake It Off was the only one I would have been able to identify, right?
Which is
So,
hilarious because I only know about, well, that's not true. I was going to say I only know about Travis Kelsey because he's dating Taylor Swift, but like absolute reverse. But I did watch is it the documentary on the Kelsey, like the Jason Kelsey
oh yeah,
documentary?
how is that? I haven't watched
So,
it.
yeah, it's pretty good. I watched it maybe like in June,
Hmm.
maybe
Hmm.
July when it came out. And then I was like, "Oh, these guys seem pretty cool." Like because I haven't lived in North America in 14 years, so I don't really get a lot of American football talk. Like when you say football over here, people mean soccer. So like there's no American football talk. And yeah, so I didn't even know who these guys were, but I thought it was super cool that like brothers were facing off in the Super Bowl. But
Hmm.
that's all I knew.
Yeah, and
Now I know a lot more.
did they show Donna with her that's mom with like she had a jersey made where it was like
The
half and half?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, the front and the back and the
So
she was like the
good.
star of the Super Bowl last year.
Totally, she was. And I
Yeah.
remember she was interviewed on like every one of the shows, the pre-shows, because there's a week-long thing that happens before the Super Bowl. And anyways, she was definitely the star. And was it last year or was it the year before?
I think last year
Was it last
Kansas
year?
City won last year. Yeah,
Yeah, I know they won, but I can't remember. Was it last year they played the Eagles or the year before? I think the year before it was the Chargers,
maybe.
the LA
Yeah.
Chargers,
I think it
who
was just last year. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. You've watched the documentary. I have not. So Travis and Jason have, I think, the number one sports podcast on the planet right now. Isn't that
New
interesting?
Heights. It's so good.
Is
Yeah,
it?
it cracked me up. Yeah, it's really
Yeah.
good.
Okay. You've
But
watched it. I
once
haven't.
again, I only know this from Facebook because like just clips show up. So
Right. Okay.
yeah.
Might be time to watch it, but you know me, I'm still like into the intellectual stuff, still listening to Rick Rubin, and Andrew Huberman. I love that episode. It's so good. So, So very good.
Well, it's like 3 hours, so you'll be listening to it for a while.
Sadly. This is the thing about these 3-hour-long podcasts once a week. It's like, who has that much time? I mean, I've got like a 10-minute commute to the office. I just don't have that much time. I'm too busy making my own content.
Exactly. Maybe I mean, if my brain was a little faster, I could listen to it, like, on, like, 2 times speed or something, but even
Yeah,
then, you don't really absorb that much information.
yeah, yeah.
I do like Huberman's podcast, though. It's great.
So good. It's so good.
Yeah.
Last week, you told me about Captain Hollywood more and more. Thank you for that. It's been a nice little addition to my playlist.
Little throwback.
Oh,
What
yeah.
music are you listening to?
I am really into, I happened to catch let me make sure I get the name of this correct. I happened to catch a clip on, I think it was on Instagram last week, where it was a really old song from when we were kids. Well, you were a kid and I was older than a kid. By Jade, called "Don't Walk Away." You remember that song?
Oh my god, I
Don't
love that
walk
song.
away,
Away,
boy.
boy, don't walk away.
Yes. I'll send you
Yeah.
the videos, like these 3 or there's a 4th
I
girl
love
that
how
comes
it
in dancing.
starts.
Yeah, it's an awesome
Yeah.
song. So, I've been listening to that, and I've also been listening to Culture Club's "I'll Tumble for You." I'll tumble
Oh.
for ya. I'm sorry, I'm no more George. I should stop. But that's my turn to sing this week. But so that's what I've been listening to. And I did just see this morning that Lenny Kravitz has a new single, and you know I'm a fan.
Aren't we all fans of Lenny Kravitz? Or
I remember
maybe more than just his music.
well, it might be. And in fact, I remember so well your comment when okay, let's see if I can remember how this went down. It was about 2014 or so, and I was lamenting over the fact that I was so distracted by Facebook at that time that I sort of missed my pre-Facebook brain. And I was just about to go, and this is when we were commenting on the things we were thinking about on Facebook. So I was literally going onto Facebook to say I miss my pre-internet brain, and the first thing that shows up is that Lenny Kravitz split his leather pants while he was on stage. And you, of course, being the kind and thoughtful friend that you always are, found me that video immediately so I could watch it.
I just know what you like, Fiona.
Thanks, Mamacita.
You're welcome. There's certain things that show up that with certain people as immediately as soon as I find that I'm just like, I must forward this. There's no time to just like yeah.
Yeah, you're like, "No, I gotta share this right away." So, I love it when those, the Facebook memories comes up. That one is there's that one that's my favorite of the year for sure. Every year that comes up, I'm like, "I need to repost that." Anyway, so Lenny's music, I say I like this single now. I've just listened to it about once, maybe 1.5 times this morning, and I found myself shaking my booty. Sometimes I mean, it's his early stuff I really got, like, really loved,
This
but,
actually reminds me of his early stuff.
I had the same thought.
Yeah. It's
Exactly.
like, hello, 1993 Lenny Kravitz. That's what I was like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'll take it. 1993 Lenny Kravitz was "Are You Gonna Go My Way?"
Are you gonna
Yeah?
go my way? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, this reminds me. Now, last week I asked you about the Golden Globes. Did you happen to catch the Emmys yesterday?
I didn't
Or
watch them, but of course I saw some stuff on TMZ or whatever pops up on my feed. Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I
So
saw
I
the Grey's Anatomy got together.
oh, it was fantastic, including
Yeah.
Katherine Heigl,
Yes.
right?
That was the like, huh?
I know, right? And
But
she
George
and
wasn't there.
no, no, sadly. She and Ellen Pompeo held hands, which I thought was really interesting while they were doing their bit.
No.
So Aaron asked last night, we were watching it, and he said, "What's the lady in the red dress? I've not seen her before." I'm like, "Ooh, scandal." She was removed from the cast when she was uh, thought to have been had diva-like behaviors on the set. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
That
I
was the rumor
remember
anyway.
it was, and just a
Maybe
few
it
years
caused her.
ago yeah, just a few
Yeah.
years ago, Ellen Pompeo and Katherine Heigl both wrote, I think maybe Shonda Rhimes was involved, maybe not, wrote an article that basically said That's not at all what happened, but you know what it's like. It's so easy to make a woman's behavior the excuse for a bunch of problems that happened otherwise. So it
Yeah.
was kind of outed as incorrect, but it was nice to see her.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the moment of the night came when first of all, anything that was a reference to MLK, so it was Martin Luther King Day here in
Hmm.
North America yesterday. I suppose that's a worldwide thing, but I mean, probably not. Okay.
It's not.
So it was his birthday. So yesterday would have been his birthday. Did they say it was his 100th birthday? I might be off by that, but I thought maybe I heard somebody say that in the show. But they showed some of his famous speeches at the end. But I think my favorite part was when RuPaul won for RuPaul's Drag Race as best reality TV series. Now, this is not the first time, but he came up with Michelle Visage, of course, who clearly is looking, what did the kids say? Snatched in her midlife. I
Well,
can't believe I
wasn't
just
some
said that.
snatched? But wasn't one of the contestants from When is the Green Goblin?
Yes, they
What,
had a bunch of
what was
queens
this?
on. Yeah, no, there's a
Oh,
bunch
okay.
of
Because
queens
I
that
just
came up on stage.
oh wow.
So
I just saw the like headlines. I didn't see it.
yeah, so one of the queens had a Green Goblin costume on. I don't know anything more about it, but Rue did go. So first of all, Rue had this fabulous black sequined suit on, of course, and this huge hot pink bow around his neck for his shirt underneath. And of course looked fabulous. And he's won that particular award a bunch of times. This is not the first time, but he took the opportunity to say, if a queen is speaking in your community, especially if it's at the library, please go and listen to what she has to say. It was really, I was like, good for you for making it a platform. Really, really very good. But
Yeah.
he had his crew come up. Ross, the intern, was there. I don't think they call him the intern anymore. Carson Kressley was there. But it was nice to see. And sadly, again, our pals at Ted Lasso were shut out.
Really?
Hmm.
I love Ted Lasso.
I know. I know. I know.
I just want them to like, do you think they're gonna maybe not do Ted Lasso, but then do another character for like 3 seasons?
Yeah, like a spin-off or something, yeah.
Yeah,
That'd be okay.
like
I'd be acceptable. So what are
like
the
Roy Kent.
oh, please, except he's busy doing other things. Like apparently he is playing Hercules.
He's playing
He's
Hercules.
yes, he is
Hercules,
yes,
Hercules.
Herc. Yes, exactly. He is playing Hercules to Russell Crowe's Zeus in the it's probably a Marvel movie. I'm sorry to break it to you. Um
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
yes, you
Like they were Thor, right? That
yes,
was
and
yeah,
Thor's somehow involved in that, right? Because
yeah.
Thor was it captured by Zeus? I don't know. I can't remember the thing, but yes.
Once
So
again, a superhero movie.
I actually don't mind them because they're either super girl power or like sweaty,
Yeah,
muscly
it's
dudes,
true.
right? I'm good. I'm so
I
good.
mean, you can put Chris Hemsworth in anything and I'll watch it. Let's be honest.
Oh,
But
heck
yeah,
yes. Oh, heck
yeah.
yes. Okay, wasn't he the one that did the oh man, I should probably do my research before I talk about this, but he did a show on Disney talking about longevity. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I haven't watched it though, but I'm pretty sure it was him
Okay, yeah.
because he has like the app with like food and working out and all that
He
stuff.
does?
Yeah,
Is
I
that a
can't.
North American thing?
We should do research. Yeah, I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a train app. Like
I would
essentially, you get nutrition advice, workout advice, all that stuff with like Chris Hemsworth
hmm,
himself and his trainers.
okay.
Yeah.
I remember watching it during the COVID year, or maybe it was the year after COVID 20, excuse me, 2021, maybe. I just wish I could, I can't remember the name of it. Limitless, maybe? Um, it's
Maybe.
excellent. It's really good.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this ridiculous attempt at having a conversation about something we know a tiny bit about, just go watch it.
Isn't that
Boo,
like
it's
we're like
good. Cool.
politicians? We just talk about stuff
Yeah, but we're not
that
getting
we know a
paid for
little tiny
this.
about. Yeah, yeah, exactly. But we're not getting paid. Hold on, I'm gonna Google it so then
Yeah,
we
I'm
know.
pretty sure. I know it's on Disney Plus, but it's yeah. Yeah, it's really good.
You were
That's the
correct. It is limitless.
It is limitless. Okay.
Yeah.
That is the first time I saw Peter Attia and became
Oh,
aware
okay.
of him. Yeah, and then of
Yeah.
course his book Outlive is amazing. I've got it over
And
my shoulder here.
his app is called Center, but with no E. It's CENTR is his app.
Mm.
This is not sponsored, but Chris, we're available.
We are absolutely available. We would love to interview you in person.
Mm. Yeah.
We are available to be flown.
Anywhere. Anywhere at all.
Absolutely anywhere.
Or even give us free access to your app. It's fine.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. Yeah, that'd be good. We
Yeah.
would try it out and stuff. Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
So I've got a some pretty interesting interviews coming up for the Not Your Mother's Menopause podcast.
Ooh, tell me. What's exciting?
I know. I actually just last night booked a sex and pleasure coach to come on. I
Mm.
know, that should be fun. Um, I know that'll be really interesting. She's not coming
It's
on
a good
till
thing it's it's a good thing it's a podcast and not a demonstration, but cool.
it's all good. Whatever she wants to talk about, I'm good. I'm good. Um, I have this week I'm interviewing a psilocybin expert for she just wrote a book called The Psilocybin Handbook for Women. And for those of you listening, that's the active ingredient in magic mushrooms. And there's a lot of buzz around psilocybin and some of the other psychedelics in medicine right now. So that'll be great to talk about. And then probably my favorite interview I've done ever, mostly because she shocked me, was Dr. Jen Simmons. She's coming back on the podcast. She was one talking about the breast surgeon, talking about breast cancer and mammography, etc. And if you've not heard that
Right.
episode,
Yeah.
oh my God, it blew my mind. Like I didn't know. I thought we were just going to talk about boob health, to be honest. I had Listen, that was a Jesus take the wheel if there ever was one. Like literally, I just sat back and like, girlfriend, please go. Like, use my platform. Women need to hear this information. So I asked her at that time, I interviewed her last September to come back on the podcast. So she's coming back at the end of January. We're talking about trauma and breast
Oh, wow.
cancer. Yeah.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I think so. And some other goodies coming, but I'll save those nuggets for another. But those are sort of the ones that pop out to me right away. I'm pretty excited. I always love meeting other amazing healthcare practitioners that have a helpful point of view.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. What's happening with your
Yeah.
podcast?
Well, yeah, my YouTube. It's just going along. It's just chugging. Just like I release a video every like, 3-4 days. So I'm starting to make a whole bunch of ones for February. Of course, I'm doing a lot of love ones for Valentine's Day, but mostly like self-love and compassion, not so much partner love, but a couple of those. Yeah, just getting ready. But we're going to did I tell you this? We're going to Thailand and Vietnam for 2 weeks.
Yes, you
So,
have told me, but tell
yeah.
me again. It's been a
Yeah.
while since I heard the details.
Yeah, so that's why I'm trying to make all these videos before I leave so I can actually have a vacation.
Imagine.
Yeah, imagine, and actually not work during the vacation. So I'm just trying to double do them and then schedule them out. But yeah, so Walid and I were going to go visit my parents, and first we're going to Vietnam to Da Nang for 5 nights, and then also to Thailand, so Bangkok and Pattaya. So super excited to see them because we didn't go anywhere for Christmas, so we're gonna check it out.
Lovely, lovely, lovely. My
Mhm.
father-in-law was an army vet, and he didn't say a lot about the time he spent um, in active duty, but he did tell his children that Vietnam was a beautiful country with the most amazing people.
It really is. I mean, we went there as a family in 2009. And I mean, I haven't been back, so it's been 15 years, but it, yeah, the food is incredible. The people are incredible. It's stunning. So I'm super excited to go back.
Nice,
Yeah.
nice. This
Yeah.
makes me think of a conversation we had years ago, I'm sure, where I asked you in all your travels where the best beaches were. Do you remember what you told me?
Vietnam.
No, but it's good to
No,
know that.
Philippines. No, I
Yes.
told you the Philippines.
Yes, you
Yes,
did.
100%. With their 7,107 islands. Yeah, the Philippines is stunning. If you ever get a chance to go there, like
Go.
unbelievable beaches. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
you hear lots about the Philippines, but you don't really hear about their beaches so much. It's too bad.
Beaches are yeah. The beaches are incredible. We took a boat trip for one day and just went to about 4 or 5 different beaches, and then for about 3 hours, also got the worst sunburn of my life. Just keep that in mind.
Right.
But we went to the
Awfully close to the
sandbar.
equator there.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But we just out on the sandbar and just literally sandbar in the middle of nowhere. Just it had
Wow.
like 2 trees on it and just sand and then the most beautiful water just surrounding us for yeah. Huh.
Wow.
That was a good time. I'm
That
very
sounds so
fortunate
good.
to have been lots of like amazing places, but yeah, the Philippines is definitely up there with like the most beautiful beaches.
Yeah, so what's the deal? You told me that travel from Dubai is really accessible and really inexpensive.
Yeah, I mean, it's getting more expensive now, but in general, you can still find some amazing deals. We actually just had this little airline called Wizz Airlines, which is the national airline, low cost carrier out of Budapest and out of Hungary. So, but they've joined forces with Abu Dhabi, and now we have like cheap travel. So you can fly
Wow.
to like, we were actually thinking about going for 4 days to Uzbekistan, which is just only 3 hours away. And it would cost you less than $100. Like,
Wow.
and these are brand new, like you're not flying with chickens. Like these are brand new, like
Good
A321s.
to
Like,
know.
they're like beautiful planes.
Hopefully it's not a
But the
Boeing 737. I don't know if you've seen any of that. Oh my
yeah,
God.
no, yeah, yeah. Let's just not think about that, shall we? The amount of travel I do, let's just not think.
Yeah.
But luckily, like, I mean, everybody just lost a couple of iPhones apparently, which made
It,
it like
and
bounced and still turned on.
it's still working with half the battery on
Yeah,
airplane mode. What was interesting was the
crazy.
comments did not disappoint on those news pieces because it was all like, dude, I dropped my iPhone from 3 feet and the thing shattered. So how does 16,000 feet, how does that happen?
Like, I don't know. I don't
Oh
know
my
how that
God.
works, but seriously impressive. But yeah, the greatest thing about, well, not the greatest, but one of the amazing things about living in Dubai is 80% of the population is within an 8-hour flight. So of the world's population. So I mean, the amount of places that we can actually go here is just it's incredible. So it's super
No,
fun to travel.
but Canada's not within that 8 hours, is it?
Canada is not within the 8 hours.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
Mm-mm.
How long is
12
that
hours
flight?
to Toronto.
Yeah,
Like
wowza.
going there, it's about 14 to Toronto. Coming back, it's about 12.
Yeah.
But and
And for
then it's
those
of
of
course
you
another 4 or 5 hours.
and for those of you that have wondered why I haven't been, that's why.
But you
I
can
feel
come
like
through
the jet lag
Europe.
would yes, this is true. I feel like the jet lag would kill me. Like it would just be like one of those things that would take so long to recover from. You told me it's worse one way. Which one is it?
It's worse going
Home.
coming back, coming here. But here's the thing. Uh yeah, usually it's worse, I guess, flying east.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. For me, anyway, some people have the opposite effect. It usually takes 1 day per hour. So, like 11 days, you'll be fine. No problem. It's worth it.
Very menopausal. I might not have 11 days. Hey, and
But the
speaking of
thing
which,
is,
go
I was
ahead.
going to say coming here, the adrenaline gets you over your jet lag. So there's no
Oh,
like people rarely have jet lag when they come here, but
the
then going home,
excitement.
the problem.
Well, that's
Yeah.
which is cool, right? The
Yeah.
excitement of being somewhere new. So this is what I was going to say to you. In 1901, women lived on average to 51 years old. Isn't that shocking? Yeah. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
essentially my age plus a year. Well, I'll be 51 this year, but not for a while. So we won't talk about that. But
We
like
got some time.
seriously, right? So, when women ask me, why haven't we figured out, we've got all these scientific and medical advances, why haven't we figured out this menopause thing? It's like, well, boo, 120 years ago, you weren't expected to live past 51.
Right. You were only in menopause for like what, a year, maybe?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe
Meanwhile,
10.
Janet Jackson just had a baby at what, 52 or
50.
53?
Yeah,
Jesus.
yeah. And she's going back out on tour. I just saw this right before we came on.
Dude, I get a
Tickets go on sale January
hangnail.
19th.
I get a hangnail and I feel like I have to go back to bed. So how is she even mad?
I don't even know. They got
I
some
stubbed my
serious
toe
genetics.
and I'm sore for a week. What's happening?
I get sore from laying down, Fiona. I gotta like stretch. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, it's
Janet,
incredible.
what
But
is
yeah,
your
she's
secret?
going back on. She's gotta be 60 now. Hey,
I don't know if she's that old. You look it up. I bet she was born 68
Mm,
or 69.
I
Be
would
my
know this
guess.
before. I would know this before, but I don't anymore. I'm a huge, I'm a huge Janet Jackson fan,
Yes,
right?
I do know that about you. In fact, I just saw a picture of her out and about in London because apparently that's where she lives. Well, one of her homes is there.
She is 57.
So what years, birth year is
Oh,
67, 68?
I can't do math. 66.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
May
and so she's
16th.
got a toddler running around.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
nuts.
Well, she used to be married to a billionaire, the one she had the kid with, a billionaire from Qatar. So she actually lived in Dubai here for
Mm.
about 5 or 6 years.
Did you guys have
So
coffee?
yeah, we're
Fabulous.
besties. Hang
Or
out
is
on
it
Mondays.
or is it is it tea over there? I don't know. It might be tea.
We drink a lot of coffee here. Unfortunately, no. Oh my God. I mean, Lindsay Lohan lives here as well, but we don't hang out either. Though I did see
Yeah.
her one time in Ramasake, but
Oh, you
that's a whole,
did?
yeah. Yeah, it was my
Okay.
birthday and she was at the other table.
She knew it was your birthday. She was there
Of
for your
course, she was
birthday.
there to
Yeah.
celebrate my birthday, but was
Yeah.
shy to come over and wish me, obviously.
Yeah. I love this. Okay, so where are we talking about? Why? Like I sent her a text. I don't know why she didn't feel like she could get up and wish you a happy birthday. Okay, so speaking of the Middle East, I was just reading this morning, being the tennis fan that I am, I was reading about Rafa Nadal, and
Mm,
he is, of course, from Spain, but he's probably playing in his last year of professional play because he's had a number of injuries. But the
mm,
Australian Open is on right now, and I was actually watching Felix Auger Aliassime, who's a Canadian, play yesterday against Dominic Thiem, and they showed uh, uh, Gabriel Diallo in the crowd, who's a Canadian on the men's circuit here, and I've actually treated him more than once, which was really
really?
cool to see him. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
There's a big tournament in November that the clinic that I work at, we are the physio etc. team. Anyways, to go back to Rafa, Rafa was talking, apparently, he has made alliance with um, Saudi group that's bringing tennis in a different way to the world, which makes me think of everything that's happening with the golf situation. Now I can't
Yeah.
remember the name of the golf.
Live,
Live, that's
LIV.
right. A Wix is what came to mind. So at least I had three letters in my head. I'm not completely
Wix is a website. Close. So close, Fiona.
so close, the closest. So it's interesting, but apparently same kind of thing is happening with tennis that we've seen happen in the last couple of years with golf. And I know it's been quite controversial. And I'm curious to hear your thoughts on that.
On tennis or on the golf?
On the basically the Saudi money coming into the like bringing the professional. I mean, that's how I've heard it
Yeah.
presented, was like, are we trying to sort of wash away the yucky taste we have from some of the past actions, and I think
Yeah,
things are
but
really changing.
yeah, 100%. I mean, I don't really want to get into global politics, but I mean, people in glass houses should not throw rocks. That's all I'm
Dang
saying.
it!
Because
Right.
nobody's exactly like,
Oh
yeah,
God, yeah.
anyways,
Yeah.
moving
I see
on.
what you're saying.
But yeah, Saudi is honestly like the last even 7 years, Saudi has been under crazy development. And the stuff that they are doing in Saudi today would blow your mind. Like they have a lot of money. They have a lot of money. Like ain't no money like Saudi money. And they are just spending it to develop what they can. And I mean, I don't know if you've heard of Neom.
Mm-mm.
I have a couple of friends that actually work there. And it's the new enterprise operating model, I think is what it stands for. But
Ah,
it's basically in the desert. So it's right on the Red Sea, but they're developing, it's this massive area called Neom, but they're developing 96% of it's going to be like a nature reserve, and they're developing 4% of it. But if you want to have your mind blown, just look it up. Like NEOM. And what this, like the developments and the things that they're doing and the hotels and the ski resorts and the I think they're hosting, I can't remember the year, but soon they're going to be hosting like the winter games, not like the Olympics, but like the Asian winter games or something like that, where there's actually snow in Saudi. They've just won the bid to have the 2030 Expo
Mm-hmm.
in Riyadh. I mean, the development there is crazy, and so many people from Dubai have actually moved to Saudi and
Oh, really?
like commute back and forth,
Yeah.
like weekly. They live in Dubai, but they just, they live in a hotel for 4 days in Saudi during the week and then come back in the weekend. Yeah, it's the development is insane.
Amazing.
It's really the next development.
And is so often the case, the media has presented things in such a way that's so skewed. And
It's so interesting. Yeah. Like being somebody who's Western and then living here and then actually seeing the skewness of the
right.
Western media. You're like, well, that's not happening at all. Or like the conflict and everything that's happening right now. I mean, there's warnings about not to visit the UAE or Oman. And it's like, we're two of the
Really?
safest countries. Yeah, exactly. Like this, it's just fear mongering, right? Like we're two of the safest like countries in the world.
Yeah. And
Like,
interestingly enough, a lot of countries have issued travel advisories for the United States because the number of guns there.
of course. Yeah.
And like for
Yeah.
those of us over here, we go, really? Like you and I lived in the US for, well, you were there for what, 6 years and I 4 years, something.
Yeah.
And I was just about 9 years. And I mean, I can tell stories about patients coming in carrying, which is a little bit odd for this peaceful Canadian.
I only
No,
had to call
sir.
911 once because there was a drive-by.
I remember where we went to school and it was kind of a dodgy, of course, you lived around campus, so yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Oh,
I remember when there was that drive-by shooting that was on the corner when you were in the sorority house there, right? And I parked because I parked right behind the frat house in the overflow lot for the high school. That's where I used to
yeah.
park. And by the time I walked up the street, got into my car and drove home, turned on Paul Sands Live because it was 4 o'clock and that's what we did then. They had a news break-in saying that there was a drive-by shooting at the school. And I was like, dude, I just walked by there
Do, do,
10
do, do,
minutes ago.
do.
I'm minding my own business.
Yeah. I lived right across the street from that parking lot.
I remember. And remember the stab and go at the top of the
The stab
street?
and go. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
the
So this is the thing. Like, I mean, you just live with it and you realize the violence and stuff or whatever. But like, like Abu Dhabi and Dubai are both in the top five safest like cities in the world. I mean, like one of the safest countries in the world, but there's a
yeah,
travel advisory. Like,
yeah,
what?
yeah,
So it's
weird.
just kind of funny where you like the perception is
Mhm.
quite interesting.
It's
Yeah.
eye-opening too, isn't it? Because then you go, how much of my life have I been listening to things that was ill-advised?
Yeah. And you just realize that A, history is written by the winners,
Mm.
and two, like you don't get the full story ever.
Ever, ever, ever,
Ever.
ever.
And
Oh
it's
my
just
God.
and news isn't news, it's opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I mean,
And
every
and here's something
everything should be called
interesting.
an opinion
An
piece.
opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, and opinions can be purchased, it turns out.
Oh
Fascinating how
yeah.
that works. If anybody's wanting to buy our opinions, we are available for sponsorship at the Over Fox Eggs podcast.
Or opinions are able to be bought.
For the right price. It may not be cheap.
It does have to align with our ethical and moral values,
It
but we
does.
are up for negotiation.
And we are absolutely firm believers in karma. So if it's dodgy at all, just stay home.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways.
Get on your bike and go. 100%.
Oh my God, I love it.
Yeah.
I could laugh and cough with you all day.
But I mean,
Honestly,
It is
The
crazy. Like, I mean, I lived here 13 years, and just the stuff that has been said, or people's perceptions, or like, Vanda, can you drive? And stuff like that, like, I mean, Saudi has come an incredible long way. I mean, women are now allowed to drive, they have autonomy. There has been so much change in Saudi in the last 10 years.
Mhm.
Like, you don't have to wear an abaya. Like, it's crazy changes over there.
Okay, what did you
But
call
the
it?
UAE,
An
an
ubaya?
abaya.
What
That's
is that?
the black. So the black, or not, it doesn't have to be black, but it's usually black. But like, kind of like the long coat, flowy
Okay,
robe thing. That's
okay,
an abaya.
okay,
The head scarf is called a shayla.
okay, very good. And what about
Yeah.
in Dubai?
Uh, do you have to wear them?
Yes. Do you
No.
have to wear one?
No.
If we're here to educate people, Van, let's do it.
No. The
Okay.
answer is no. The only time I would ever have to wear a head scarf or modest clothing, as in covering like my shoulders and my elbows and like a little bit baggier, you don't want to walk around in like a tight cat suit, would be if I were to visit a mosque. That's it.
Okay.
So, for example, if I were to take you to like Sheikh Zayed Mosque in Abu Dhabi, which is beautiful and stunning and one
Mhm.
of the most
Yes,
beautiful
that
buildings in the
we'll
world.
leave that needs to go on the list, please. Yes, yeah. Yeah.
Take
Uh-huh.
notes.
Yeah.
Um, we would get you an abaya, or just wear like loose, baggy clothing, and then with just a simple scarf
A
for your
scarf.
hair. That's it. That's
Okay.
it. That's
Okay.
all you
And
have
it's
to
a
do.
covering
But
of the hair.
yeah, just covers
Okay.
your hair. But like, honestly, anywhere else, no. I mean, they used to be obviously a little bit more strict. Like in the malls and stuff like that, there's like a dress code, but the dress code is just like, don't walk around in your bathing suit. you
Isn't
know,
that just kind
which
of
I
common
think
sense?
it's common sense. I mean, people are like, "Oh, can you believe this?" I'm like, "I want to do this in Canada." Like,
No.
I would never walk around with my ass hanging out out of my jeans. Like, that's not something I do. So, it's not to me, it's not like, diminishing my life in any capacity. So,
Interesting.
yeah.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, let's educate our listeners about it because
Yeah,
if
no,
we're
Dubai is very open, and they've had a lot of rules change in the last, even in the last 3, 4 years. But for example, you can now live with a partner without being married. You can actually get pregnant without being married, and have the child. There's
oh,
like a
you can
lot of
get pregnant
things
without being married. Yeah, yeah.
legally.
You got right, right, right.
I
Yes,
I
of
know,
course.
I know, I know people, a lot of people did it, but it was a problem because here for a long time they wouldn't give the child the birth certificate,
Mm,
which is a problem for like getting a
mhm,
passport and nationality
mhm,
and all that stuff. So, but
mhm,
now it's no problem. And they've actually opened up a civil court, so you can now get married
mm,
um quite easily. Like civilly,
mhm.
not religious marriage. Yeah, there's been so many changes.
Good. The
Yeah.
world is moving towards a kinder place. I firmly believe that. I firmly believe that the love
Yeah.
and the light are ruling the planet far more than they have before. I mean, you can always find the dark, it's always there. But look
Yeah.
at what you want to see and you'll see more of it.
Follow
As
the
Jim,
light.
yeah, as Jim Parker said, what I see in the universe sees me.
100%.
Yeah.
Oh,
Now I want
Jim.
to ask a chiropractic question,
Mm,
as we're both chiropractors and you happen to practice in a conservative country. So if you have a woman that comes to see you as a patient and she is
yeah.
wearing a religious dress,
Yeah.
can she remove it if necessary
Yeah,
for
of
the
course.
adjustment? Okay.
Yeah. Mhm. So there's different, I mean, I am not Muslim, so I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody, but from my knowledge, um, two things. First, there's religious and there's cultural. So they're two very different things. So the abaya over here is actually more cultural than it is religious, if that makes sense.
Mhm.
So they wear it because of culture. Same with the white kandora that they wear. That's more cultural than religious. But if a patient was to come see me, first I'm female, so it's no problem. I'm like, because yeah, as female seeing female, it's no problem. But even with that being said, if the lady is seeing, because it's a doctor, if you're a doctor, it's fine.
Mm. Okay.
Yeah. Some have issues with it, and like, but it's usually more cultural, than it's a cultural choice than a religious choice. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Hmm.
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll have more conversation or more questions to ask you because, this is not it's not like we got a class on this in school.
Mm-mm.
I bet they teach it now, Van. Like they'd have to, don't you think?
I don't know if they do or not, because even when I was having a lot of exposure when I did clinic abroad with like newer graduates,
Mhm.
and the thing is, like, you don't really know until you don't even know that you don't know. It's that whole like you don't know that you don't know,
Mhm.
or that you know that you don't know. But a lot of people don't even know that they don't even know that this is a thing until they
I'm so
experience it.
confused about who knows what at this point.
Nobody knows anything. That's the
I
point.
know nothing. Okay, on that note, I think it's time to wrap because my God, it's been so educational for me. So thank you for sharing what it's been like.
Anytime.
Yeah, what it's been like as a Western woman living in a totally different culture. I mean, eat, pray, love aside, there's not a single one of us, I don't think, that doesn't dream of just going, literally selling everything and going to the other side of the planet. You actually did
It's
it.
very freeing. I highly recommend it. If
I bet.
anybody has any questions, send me a message.
And I want you to know, I actually thought you were going to come back and then you got a cat. And I
uh,
said to Aaron, I said, yeah, that's not happening. Girlfriend
yeah,
staying.
I
And then she
know.
found a man and definitely staying.
I have my golden visa. I'm eligible for a passport. There's things.
Yeah.
But it is funny though. When I first came, I did tell everybody I was staying for a year. I secretly thought I would stay for 2. That was 14 years ago.
Mhm. So often the
So
case. Yes.
sorry about that.
Yes, it's all right.
And what was the temperature this weekend?
Oh
Yeah,
God, I
that's
know. I get it. I get it, right? Yeah, I get it. It's funny, I have a lot of patients that are currently in the last sort of year or so traveling to Central America for other
Mm,
places to live that are because Canada's gotten so expensive to live in
yeah.
and our tax rates are high and it's so effing cold here. And it kind of becomes like does it have to
Why
be
are
that we
you
stay
here?
here? Can we
Yeah.
yeah. So Panama's really high on the list of people going to. So is Costa Rica, Guatemala, Belize, Ecuador. That's the other one.
Mm,
And lots of people going to check out what it's like to live there. And I guess one of the
yeah.
biggest issues in some of these countries, not all of them, is access to Wi-Fi or internet.
Wi-Fi, really?
Well, access to internet, to good quality internet.
You'd think with the Starlink, you'd just be able to hook that up and away you go.
You would think. I also have a friend that sold her house, sold most of what she owns, and lives on a boat with her family.
Amazing.
So we're looking at alternatives, We're looking at
Yeah,
alternatives.
I mean, for so long, we've been told that you just have to have the picket fence and the little house and the suburb and the 2.3 kids and your 5 dogs, like, or
And a
whatever, that we were
pile of
told,
debt
and a
and a
pile of
moldy
debt and
house
2
and a shitty
cars and like,
boss,
yeah,
a kid that's
and
getting bullied. Like, come on, to
and
hell
the
with
more
it.
and more, it's like, why? Like,
Yeah.
who
Why?
told you this? What belief is this,
Yeah, and you and I grew up in such a way that we had people that lived in small communities around us, farming communities. So we know what that lifestyle is like. And it's very freeing compared to being in the city, in the concrete jungle. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think that's quite fascinating. Like I grew up in such a way that if my grandmother said she wanted to have corn for dinner or potatoes for dinner, we went out to the garden and pulled them up, right?
Yep.
Like to me, when a carrot tastes like dirt, that's what a carrot's supposed to taste like.
Delicious.
So good, all that
Yeah.
natural soil microbiome. Like, that's
Yeah.
what we're supposed to get. Anyways, you and I can go off about that, which would be kind of fun. But okay, we're trying to keep
I
this not the Huberman Lab podcast at 3 hours. What have you got?
I just to finish up, I just wanted to read my thing on my tea.
Please.
My tea. It says, "Be guided. Listen to the whispers of the universe." Isn't that nice?
Ah,
Yeah.
my universe says I really have to pee. Wait, that's my
You
bladder. Sorry.
I love you.
I love you too. Thanks for the
I'll
time,
talk to you
Van. Bye,
soon.
everybody. The information and other content provided in this show, or in any linked materials, is not intended and should not be construed as medical advice, nor is the information a substitute for professional medical expertise or treatment. We are doctors, but we aren't your doctor. Seek your doctor's opinion. If you or any other person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical treatment. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have heard in this podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. The opinions and views expressed on this page and in this show have no relation to those of any academic, hospital, health practice, or other institution. Thank you.